Hello, Juice Plus community. Welcome back. This is video 2 in our series of our Luminate launch. Very exciting. I hope you are as excited as I am. If you have not watched the first video, please go back and watch that. That's our introduction video. And this video, we're going to do a little bit more exploring. So remembering that these videos are for our partners. This is for partner training, not for external use at this time. We will provide you with some great tools and assets that you can use to educate your customers coming at you very soon. So let's jump in to video number 2, and this time we're going to talk about how the ingredients work, what they're actually doing in the body, and how that formulation delivers that clean, focused energy without overcomplicating what I'm trying to teach you. So I promise not too many more technical terms in this one. So Luminate is designed particularly for using the vitamins that are specific to carry health benefits under the Australia, New Zealand food regulations. So that is called FSANZ, the Food Standards of Australia and New Zealand. So these regulations are part of the Food Standard Code, and that outlines exactly what we are allowed to say on packaging and in our marketing materials. And so what you will officially see is B1, which is thiamine, contributes to normal energy production. B2, which is riboflavin, contributes to normal functioning of the nervous system. Vitamin B5 is pantothenic acid. That helps to reduce the tiredness and fatigue. And B6, which is pyridoxine, supports normal psychological function. So I did say I wasn't going to use any technical terms, and hopefully that wasn't too overcomplicated, but some of you will know them as B1, 2, 5 and 6, and some of you will know them as their formal names. And of course there's caffeine, 80 milligrams of caffeine per serve, and that is derived from natural sources to support mental alertness. So these are the official things that we can say about our Luminate. So let's talk a little bit more into those ingredients that we talked about in video number 1, and we're just going to explore those a little bit more so that you really understand the synergy that's going on here. So galangal, which was 300 milligrams, and that was the botanical that was studied for supporting attention and alertness. And galangal works really well alongside caffeine. Hopefully you remember that from the first video. Lion's mane is the mushroom, 150 milligram, and that was for mental clarity and also nerve health. And that's included for its supportive role in long-term psychological well-being. Remember the long term. This is really important because it keeps coming back to consistency with taking the product. Rhodiola was 150 milligrams. Now that is officially what we would call an adaptogenic herb. However, in our market, we don't use the words adaptogens, and there is important rules around that, and we'll talk about that in a second, but it's used for endurance and recovery. And what we can say is that rhodiola is here to support resilience under stress. Okay, so rather than talking being an adaptogen, it's actually there to support that resilience under stress. So that's how we're going to talk about rhodiola. Now, the sage extracts we spoke about, 100 milligrams of the garden sage leaf, and 10 milligrams of microdosing of the Spanish sage oil. So that was for attention and calm focus, and it complements the other botanicals by offering that mental clarity. Now, a word on sage. We do have caffeine in this product anyway, so women who are pregnant may or may not be using this. However, sage oil has been associated with a disclaimer around using for pregnancy. Now, generally speaking, I can't imagine this is a product for pregnant women. It's also not for children. This is an adult-only product. Please be very aware of that, and just be aware that if you are talking to clients who are pregnant, they are using a little bit of caffeine, make sure you point out that there's caffeine and there's sage oil, and let them do their own research, okay, to make that informed decision about what's right for them and their body. Now, I spoke in video 1 about the survey that was undertaken. Now, this was a 7-day trial undertaken in Europe, and we have the exact same blend as the Europeans. Now, this is also an important point for you to know. We have a different formulation than the USA. And also, because of our food standards, as I've just mentioned, we have only specific things that we can talk to in relation to Luminate. So just be really mindful of that. The expectations of perhaps some of you have had the American formulation, it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, it's a little bit of a softer blend, but also it needed to be to meet the market and meet the requirements of the market. So it's the same in Europe as it is in Australia and New Zealand. Let me tell you about the research. So it was a 7-day trial, and it was conducted in Germany, the UK, and Spain. And there were 69 people who finished the survey, aged between 18 and 54 years. So we've got a good cross-section. It didn't go into specifics around the population of male and female, just the adults 18 to 54 years. Now, some of them were regular caffeine consumers and some of them were not. Now, they were required to consume 1 sachet of Luminate per day mixed with water. And the key insights were as follows. 81% noticed improved mental clarity and focus by day 7. Okay, it didn't come on day 1, but by day 7, improved mental clarity and focus. So 81%, that's pretty good. 75% said that their concentration and task productivity improved. So this is really good for our adult students out there who are looking for improved mental clarity and focus and concentration and task productivity. Really good news. 80% experienced sustained energy for at least 2 hours after drinking Luminate. So also really good to know. So 2 hours is a really good window. Again, if you've got a task that you need mental focus and clarity and you can bang it out 2 hours, Luminate is your friend. And 74% found it gentler on digestion than coffee. Now, I'm going to talk to that because on a personal level, I can absolutely tick that one. A lot of people do have a sensitivity, gut sensitivity to caffeine. So if they are having too much caffeine, the body just wants to eliminate it. It can be used for bowel blockages, constipation. Sometimes they do suggest having some caffeine for that purpose. However, 74% found it was much gentler having their Luminate than it was a cup of coffee. So that's also really good for people who are in a position where they, can't get up and down all the time as well. So that was a really good result from those 69 people. And then 80% experienced no unwanted side effects. So none of the jitters and the crashes that sometimes come with caffeine. And this is what they had to say at the end of the survey. They helped me feel ready to get things done, clear energy and no jitters. And this replaced my morning coffee and it felt much smoother. So they are 3 statements from the participants. Now, I want to talk into a little bit more about the food standards because this is really important for our market, that we don't get tied up in verbiage that we can't use. Okay, so in Australia and New Zealand, Luminate is classified as a supplemented food. And that means we have to follow some specific food labelling as set by those Food Standards Australia and the authorities. So the rules list only a small number of approved health benefits that can be claimed for vitamins and nutrients. And that's any vitamins and nutrients. There's standard rules of what we can and can't say. So we won't be using terms such as nootropic because that actually implies brain enhancing and a therapeutic effect. So we can't use that word. We're also not going to use adaptogen because that refers to herbs that help the body respond to stress, but it's not recognised under the food regulations. So we can't talk into that on our labelling around the herbs. So just be really mindful of that, particularly when you are creating your own assets. So we're going to stick to approved claims around energy, alertness, normal psychological and nervous system function. And of course, we will provide you all the assets that you need to be able to talk about this product to your market. In the next video, we're going to talk a little bit more about Luminate in daily life and drill a little bit more into who it's best for. So stay tuned, and I will see you in the next intake of our Luminate videos.